All right, everyone, we're going to go ahead and get started. Welcome to our webinar this morning. And we have the pleasure of having Andrea Hall, and she's going to be presenting on Take Productivity and Collaboration to the Next Level with Microsoft Teams. And for those of you that were at our customer conference in Denver, Andrea did this exact same presentation out there, but she has done a little bit of a different spin on it. So it is a bit of new material. So if you have any questions along the way, please feel free to interject and type them into the Q&A at the bottom of your screen, and we will get those addressed. And I will now kick it over to Andrea to begin our presentation.
Thank you, Angie. Hello, everyone. I'm super excited to be here with you today and talking about Teams. So I use Teams every single day, and at this point, I can't imagine not using it anymore. So I have been in the business system space for the last 25, almost approaching 30 years. And like you, I use these systems every single day to get my work done and work with my team and achieve our business goals. So it's really fun to see new tools come on the market, have additional features and functionality, and they really can make a huge difference in our productivity, working with others, getting the best out of our colleagues and our relationships so that we can do the best work possible. So I'm excited to share that with you today. I'm going to stop my video just so we can focus on the slides and adjust my screen one tiny bit. Okay. So basically, we're going to step through the information as to sort of what's unique and special about Microsoft Teams, its key features. It has all of these different tool sets. And really, the magic is when we put it all together and use the Teams functionality within the Teams product. So I can't wait to show you. I'm going to share a bunch of information, and then at the end, we're actually going to hop into Teams and do a little bit of a demo and show you in real life some great scenarios that might inspire you on how you could use Teams at your workplace. So why Microsoft Teams specifically? So, well, why do we need to focus on productivity and collaboration? So our world and our work world are changing, and the need to be as sharp and swift and smart and effective is greater than it's ever been. So we know that people are not just working down the hall from each other these days, but they're working in different facilities, in different countries. And with remote work, they could be working at home or on the island or beside the football field while their kid has practice. So we need effective tools so that we can continue to partner and work together. We know that we need to make quick decisions, bring products to market quickly. We need to be agile. We need to bring diverse perspectives and expertise together to solve some of the challenges in today's workplace. So we can use collaboration to really get the best of all of our colleagues across different backgrounds. And these tools help us sort of interact with each other and the work that we're doing so that we can brainstorm or build upon others' ideas really effectively. And especially employee engagement. So we know that there's been times in recent years where it's difficult to hire employees or difficult to retain employees. So providing tools that are easy to use, make them super effective in their jobs, help them stay motivated and feel empowered, and hopefully are really satisfied and want to stay working at your organization for a long time. Again, I said I'm a user. Since I've been using Teams, I can't imagine if I went to another organization that didn't offer Teams, I would get frustrated very, very quickly. So we want to have great tools for our people and empower them to do the great work we're asking them to do. It's more important than ever these days. So some key things that Microsoft provides is all of these tools right at your fingertips. So instead of having to jump into your email and jump over to your voicemail and to check all of these different various tools, everything is combined in this one system. And it makes the speed in which you can act and work so much faster. It's also integrated with the Microsoft Office set of products. So again, all of these solutions sort of meld into one. So you're not busy, switching from one screen to the other screen and having to go and dig for things. Everything is really right at your fingertips. And one of the things I especially love about Teams is all of their features, be it chat, phone calls, whatever, are always in context of your work. So if you're chatting with someone and you want to call them, the button is right there. If you're on a Teams post and you want to schedule a meeting with that whole group, the button is right there. So everything is intended to make your work very swift. Again, Teams can be on any device. It can be mobile. It allows us to have access anywhere we are in the world and just really stay in touch with each other. And I love the fact, so as a user, I can be on a Teams call on my computer and realize I need to leave the house. I can just very smoothly switch that call to my phone and take it with me. And it's these kinds of tools that, again, just enable us to do our best work. Again, collaboration, everything around Teams is intending us to work smarter, faster, and better together. I love the collaboration through Teams because I can see if my coworkers are available for me to give them a quick call or not. I can see if they've read a message that I sent to them or not. Have you ever sent an email and you're sitting there wondering if someone's going to reply to you? It takes a long time. With Teams, you can actually see if they've read the message. Oh, good. They're going to give me a quick response. I can see if they haven't read the message. Maybe I need to go and ping someone else for the answer I need quickly. So it facilitates all of that real-time interactions you have with your colleagues. And also with Teams, you can interact with people outside of your organization in a lot of different ways as well. So it sort of breaks down the barrier, because whether you work in my organization or outside of my organization, we're really collaborating and working as if we're one team in many cases. And Teams helps us do that. So productivity, just the speed at which we can get answers, make decisions, share information is incredibly powerful. Let's see. It's amazing nowadays as well. Those of you who have started to look at Copilot, which is Microsoft's AI solution, it's really an assistant. The fact that in addition to the native Teams products, Copilot is also added to Teams has really just doubled down on the ability to do sort of transactions, drudgery work quickly and surface meaningful insights real time. So I'll show you a couple examples of how Copilot is even adding to the power of Teams. There's also lots and lots of apps that have been built to plug into Teams for additional functionality. And in fact, at the end, when we do a demonstration, I'll show you Planner, which is really a project management solution. And again, instead of having to jump to a separate tool, that is all embedded directly in Teams. And when we're most productive is when we understand the tools and how to use them. So I mentioned that help is available, and most teams have help. But what I love about Teams is there's a whole section of help that are actually done as short 1 to 3 minute videos. And man, isn't that how we learn and get information today, whether we're on social media or whatever? I don't want to read through 10 pages of documentation. I want a 2-minute video that shows me how to do it. So if I'm unsure of a feature that I want to use, it's incredibly easy to get up to speed and start putting it into my toolkit. Okay, so here we'll step through the key features that are in Teams. And all of these work independently, and then at the end, we're going to see how they all work in concert together. So Teams has a chat feature, which is fantastic. Again, this is intended for quick hits, quick information. Probably most of us on this call have inboxes that we'd be embarrassed to say how many emails we have in there, whether they're read or not organized. Chat really cuts through that, through communication in a totally different way, where it keeps work moving forward very quickly. So some features around chat is it's basically instant messaging with your colleagues, or again, could be people outside of your organization. Can be one-on-one chats, or you can have group chats. And I love it. And I have some screenshots here that really show how there's emojis and GIFs and different ways in which we can still share our personalities. Because when we show who we really are to our colleagues, it helps us have relationships, especially when we're working remotely and we're not sitting around the water cooler talking with each other. We can show our emotions and our excitement or our frustration very easily through this technology, and it makes us feel more human, and we have better relations with that. At the top, that screenshot there's two chats that I have sent. The top one has a little eye icon. That indicates to me that who I sent it to has actually seen that message, which is great. Good. I know they got the information I sent them. I can move on. I don't have to worry about that. The second chat I sent was a little bit later in the day, and it has a checkbox, and that indicates it's been delivered, but it hasn't been seen by the recipient yet. These are all small cues that can help us determine, what do I do next? Do I wait for an answer? Do I ping someone else? Am I confident they have the information already? Let's see. I think this is also really fascinating, especially as our world becomes flatter and more global. With chat, there's inline translation of many languages. So I can write in my native language, and instantly my recipient can see it and read it in their native language. So just think, not very long ago, the time-consuming nature translation would have been, and that's just an example of how we can make collaboration much faster through chat. So Teams also has calling features. So again, wherever someone is working, you can get a hold of them. So that makes it really effective. I added this point here because I think it's really fantastic. It wasn't that long ago where a lot of us were sharing our personal cell phone numbers just so we could connect with each other. Maybe we were traveling to a trade show together, or, we were between facilities. We still needed to be in touch, and we were sharing personal cell phone numbers. Well, isn't it awkward if you leave the organization and work somewhere else, you still have old colleagues or vendors calling your cell phone number? So we don't need to do that anymore with Teams. It's a business solution for business reasons that keeps us in touch with one another. It's worth noting that calls, there's audio calls, so a traditional phone call, and there's also video calls. This screenshot here is for audio calls. So again, it's very simple. You can see the history of calls. You can see your voicemails, both in transcription format, listen to the audio format. It's just incredibly easy. So even on this screenshot on the left side, I can see some names of people who I've had calls with in the past. If I want to call them now, I don't even have to look them up. I instantly have an icon to initiate a video call or a phone call, instantly. If you look over at the right side of the screen, any call that you click on, you can see the person's contact information. Immediately from here, I can send a message. Now I'm chatting with the person. In this case, I've read the transcript of the voicemail. I don't need to call them back. I can just send them a quick message that will answer their question, and we're both rapidly back to work. So I called this section meetings, but really meetings in today's world is really most often a video call. So it has audio calls, video, screen sharing, document sharing, all embedded in meetings. So we're not just talking to each other, but we have a robust set of tools. And I am very pro having your camera on when you're having interactions, because, and here's a study, when people see each other's faces, it builds relationships. And we really are humans doing work with other humans, and we want to build rapport and trust so that we can feel confident in our colleagues and our business partners to work effectively with them. So I actually work with one group of people who, some people are remote working, but 5 or 6 are working in the same building, and they still do a meeting or a video call with each other because it's faster than walking to the other side of the building, and they can see their face and feel like they're connecting with them. So some features here is there is a calendar in Teams, and it's really awesome because it syncs with Outlook. So whether you schedule an appointment in Outlook, it's going to show up in Teams. If you schedule an appointment in Teams, it's going to show up in Outlook. So that's a really wonderful, again, seamless example where you don't have to hop around to different systems. Your system of preference is going to have the information you need. Of course, there's video options, background options. You can sort of mask your background if you're working from your guest bedroom. You can put on branded backgrounds. There's chat with meetings, and what I really love is the use case to chat with participants before the meeting. So a meeting's been scheduled for next week. Well, when we're in the meeting, we can chat with each other, but I actually have a couple questions before the meeting. Can you make sure you bring these notes? Are we going to cover this when we get together? All of that chat automatically goes to the participants and is saved and can be seen again during the meeting. So again, that just sort of greases the wheels on the preparation to make sure that the meeting is effective. You naturally get all sorts of recordings and transcript options and sharing screens. What's really awesome as Team continues to evolve is when you share screens, there's actually an option to share a whiteboard space where all the participants can grab a pen, a marker, whatever, and collaborate as if we were standing in the conference room together with a giant whiteboard. So that gets the creativity flowing and the real-time interactions much more effective when you're using technology when everyone's remote. People can raise and lower their hands when they want their turn to speak. It's actually really cool because Teams now will number the people in order of when they raise their hands. So you, as the facilitator, know who to call on next, which is really handy. And there's lots of reactions where, again, while other people are talking, you can sort of indicate your excitement or your approval or agreement or those kinds of things real time. Whereas, replicating the things that we would have, again, if we were sitting in the same physical room together. Meetings is really a powerhouse place where Copilot is added to Teams. So it has some features. Say you arrive to a meeting 10 minutes late. Normally what would happen at that point is you would interrupt everyone who's already on the call. They would take some time, get you up to speed, and then move on. So that's a disruption and sort of a waste of time. With Copilot, if you arrive late to a meeting, it's automatically going to pop up a message just to you that says, I see you're arriving late. Would you like a recap of what's been covered so far? Heck yeah, I do. So I say yes, and instantly it gives me bullets of everything that's been talked about so far. Now I'm instantly engaged in what's happening. I also can interact with the meeting real time. So here's a screenshot. So this is what it looks like to log into a Teams meeting. I can interact real time. So during the meeting, I might say, suggest some follow-up questions. So it's listening to the conversation that's happening, and it can give you suggestions so that your engagement can be that much more effective. You could also see, oh, we're getting to 5 minutes left in the meeting. You could ask Copilot, can you please recap the meeting? And then as a facilitator, it helps me go over what's been talked about. So I don't have to be busy taking notes during the call. Myself and the participants can be completely engaged in the discussion and let Copilot take the notes. You can actually even ask Copilot to identify the action items that were discussed in the meeting, and it will do that, and it will also note the owners that are supposed to take care of those actions. One more note about Copilot and meetings is after the meeting, say you missed a meeting. In the past, if you missed an hour-long meeting, you'd probably have to spend an hour some other time listening to the recording. Now with Copilot, after the meeting, you can go to the recording and then you can ask it what decisions were made during this meeting, and it will summarize it for you. So with a few key questions of Copilot, probably in 5-6 minutes, you're completely caught up on what was discussed in the meeting and you don't have to spend another hour on it. Teams is really great about file sharing. So a lot of the work we do for collaboration is around documents. So this is great because everything, there's probably offices that have jokes like, oh, good luck finding it on SharePoint. But Teams helps it stay organized and in context of the work that you're doing. So if someone is sharing a document with you through a chat or a meeting, that gets saved in context of that chat and meeting so you can easily find it again. When we get to Teams, which we're going to talk about in a couple minutes, there's actual file repository. So here are all the files related to the work this team is doing. You can organize the files in all sorts of different ways, and you can even promote, say you have dozens of documents, but this SOP or this customer onboarding document or some essential document can actually be promoted to be a tab at the top of the team, so it's readily and instantly available to everyone. And one thing I find incredibly helpful about Teams is you really never miss anything. So whether I step away from my computer for an hour or I'm on vacation for a week, when I come back, it is fully prepared to help get me up to speed very quickly. So there's actually a feature that's called activity feed. And I have a screenshot here, and it shows you these red callouts. Anytime something new has happened since you were engaged with Teams, you can instantly just go to those reds and see what it was. It's also worth mentioning here in these at mentions. It's a feature that's all throughout Teams where anywhere you use the at symbol and then the person's name, it's going to highlight it in a color and it's going to promote that notification to them. So on the screen here, I could have an at mention where Jeff specifically called me by name to this particular comment that he had. So this is fantastically effective to get right back up to speed as soon as I return to work. I will also again highlight Copilot has some tremendous tools in Teams where you can ask it, say you were out, you can come back and say, summarize my emails from last week, and it'll generate some bullets to highlight it for you. Now, what an incredible time savings. In fact, say I just got back from vacation and I have my weekly meeting with Bob in 30 minutes. Well, I don't have time to find all of his emails amongst all my other emails. I could even say, summarize my emails from Bob last week, and it'll generate, here are the 6 bullets. And then I go into my meeting with Bob armed, prepared, and ready for an effective discussion. You can also ask Copilot lots of other things. And if you aren't checking this out, I highly, highly encourage you to take a look at it. Okay, so this is the magic in Teams of putting all of these little tools together. So when I first, a couple years ago, I was lucky enough to be at an organization that said, here, you have a Teams license. Go check it out. Start using it. Well, first of all, that's very difficult to do on my own in a tool that's intended for group collaboration with other people. The other thing that was really difficult is I was like, but what is a team? And they're like, whatever you want it to be. But how would I use a team? And they said, any way you want. And this sort of abundance of opportunities was overwhelming and I didn't really understand. So the way that I think about a team is a defined set of people around a topic. Now, that's still pretty vague, but at least gives you a framework you can start thinking about it. So you might consider a set of people around a topic. Perhaps you have a whole organization team where you're going to have a shared workspace with communication and collaboration. So you might want one for your whole organization. And there are posts that are intended to inform everyone across the company. you might have multiple locations in your organization. So you might have a team for Miami and a team for Boston. Now, if I'm in Boston, I don't need to see some of the notices about Miami and vice versa. So you're paring down a defined set of people around a topic. You also could consider defining a team by a department. Yeah, of course, we're going to have a sales team or we're going to have an IT team. You might do it around shared roles. You might have a team for all the managers in your organization because they're going to get specific communication and collaboration and documents that are for them as the audience. And you might also think about a team that's around a project. So this is a set of people who are setting out to do something, a project. Let's create a team for them so they have a shared workspace where everything is all in one spot. So hopefully that's starting to give you a sense of how you would define a team and how it can be used. I'll go over some features and then we're going to look at some real examples. So you define a team, and a team has channels. And really, those become the areas for subtopics. And I think this is going to make more sense when we look at some real life examples. Individuals can be a member of all the teams or just select teams or select channels. So you can manage who's receiving the communication and the collaboration. Again, the power of teams is that it can extend outside of your organization and you can break down the walls and have external people work and collab as if they're part of this team. And it's really cool because you can set up notifications. So whether it's any kind of interaction, a new file's uploaded, a new post has happened, you can get notifications for teams that you're a member of. So that becomes, just facilitates you being informed and in the know real time. So let's jump into Teams. So hopefully you can see this is my demo Teams environment. And Angie, you let me know if you can't. I'm going to assume that we can for now. So just quickly, we've got this menu bar over here on the left. So with chat, we talked about, I can see the different chats that I have, different interactions that I've had with people. I can see the calls here, like I'd done a screenshot. I can interact with them. I can see my calendar. Again, if I click on a meeting, this is going to happen tomorrow. I can see that people have been chatting. It's pre-work is going on about the meeting. But let's really look at teams. So I can see I'm a member of several teams, and they're organized over here. And you can see that you can color code them. You might have reasons to do that. You can also reorder them if you want them to show up in a particular way, maybe most frequently interacted teams at the top. So let's go through some real life examples. So this first one is called Orchard Park Office. So let's imagine that my organization has multiple facilities. Well, I work at the Orchard Park office and I'm a member of the team. So here's the team and there's channels. So there's always a general channel by default. That's generally for this team. So some examples I can see, there's going to be a delayed start at this location because of the storm. And then I can see some different people have interacted with it. Again, we can be humans, have humor, have emotions, and share with each other. I can see, we're having a blood drive. Well, that's great information to get to this location specifically. Our other locations don't need to know about that. This is also showing me where at mentions show up. So when I've done an at mention, so at Carol Smith, how are you going? So when I post that, I have called this out and I can see that it's blue for me. When you're the recipient of an at mention right here, I can see that it's turned bright red and I get this little at symbol over here. So if I'm quickly scrolling through a whole bunch of posts, this stands out immediately for me. It's also going to show up in my activity feed. Any at mention from anywhere across Teams is going to be right in my activity feed, easy for me to get caught up on quickly. So that's a location example. Let's say we also have sales teams. So we have groups of people that are focused on specific customers. So in this case, maybe we have a customer A team and a customer B team, different groups of it. So let's say, and we may also have a customer C, D, and F, but I'm not members of those teams, so they don't show up here for me. So if I look at customer A's team, again, we always have the general channel. And so this is where general posts, yay, this customer is ready to go. We need a call. Credit forms are due. We've got some back and forth happening here, collaborating generally about customer A. What we can further see here is, oh, I'm sorry. I also want to mention, while these posts in a team are very similar to chatting, they're a little bit different. In chat, you have inline real-time back and forth. So my responses are on the right here, and my colleagues' responses are over on the left here. And it's intended for quick communication, ping back and forth, back and forth. When I'm looking at a team, though, these are a little bit different. These are actually called posts. And within every post, you can see they're kind of segmented by this boxed border. Within every post is where you want to reply. I'll tell you a common mistake when people start using this is they'll see a post and they start a new post to reply, but that's actually starting a whole new conversation that's going to be in a boxed border. So when you see a post and you want to interact to it, there's a reply immediately under each one. So I just wanted to mention that. The other thing that we can have when we're within teams is we have lots of things and options going across the top, really right at our fingertips. So for this customer A, we've got the general channel. We also have a channel that's related to issues. So issues, darn, a lot of these come up. I don't want to clutter just in my general channel. I want specifically a thread that's on issues. And then I also have one on promotions. Again, subtopics within the customer A team. So within, and I will also remind you, within channels, you can have different membership. So natively or naturally, everyone who's a member of customer A team is automatically part of the channels that are created, but you can modify that. This also can be helpful when you have external collaborators. Maybe you make a channel that is specifically only for internal people, just to kind of manage the communication and the privacy there. If I'm in this issues channel, again, I can see different posts and interactions are happening here. I can also see that we have the opportunity to share files. So maybe this is where all the damage reports go. This is where our log is for issues. Now, these are supported by SharePoint behind the scenes, but in context of my work for customer A, with the people that are defined to be on this team, I can have real life interactions with them. And I know this is every file we want is right at my fingertips in context of thinking about working on customer A. So we have that. We also have the opportunity, there's an integration here with OneNote. So maybe our team uses OneNote for our meeting notes. Well, it is right here at my fingertips in Teams all together. Let's see. Let's go and look at a different scenario. So that's another scenario where we have smaller teams for around a customer. Let's say we also do product development here at this company, and we're developing footwear. Well, a lot of product development work is actually like a project. We're developing a product, all of the specs, it has to go into manufacturing, there has to be marketing, and it's going to go to market. That's like a project. So I can have all of the people who are part of our division product development as part of this team. I can have a general channel where we're posting different things about product development in general, but you can see we also have channels for the team that's specifically working on heels, slippers, or sneakers. So everyone is a member of the general channel, but then I have subsets of the people depending on what their specialty is here. So for the general, maybe in here in files, we have things that are common to everyone. I can see that the sneaker specs has ended up in the general folder. Well, that's very easy. I can go to it and I can move it to where it belongs. The other thing is I might have a document that is so important, I can actually pin it right up here so it's at everyone's fingertips all the time. And it continues to show that we could have Power BI reports related to our progress right here. And this little button, the plus, shows us we have many, many more apps that can be added in here as well. So let's go to our sneakers channel for a second. So this is specific to sneakers. Again, posts, files, notes. But I actually want to manage all of the tasks around developing our new sneaker. Well, right up here, I have sneaker product development tasks. So this shows me all of the tasks we have. Here's a list view. I can easily add a new task. I can assign it to one or more people. Start date, due dates, buckets. This is a categorization that you define, whatever you want that to be. So in this particular case, I sort of called it out by function. I want to be able to filter and segment and view and know that some tasks are for the design team while others are manufacturing or marketing. But this bucket, you get to define yourselves. I certainly can see in progress, priority. Another amazing feature is this label. It is absolutely free form. It has all of these colors, and you can rename this to whatever you want it to be. So it might be that it's in development versus in testing. Whatever you want this to be. It could be it's executive facing, it's about quality, it's client facing. You get to define this, which can be really powerful. So this is the list view. Again, we can add, we can click on them, we can edit from here. But I think the board view is incredibly powerful. So this bucket that we've defined can be a board. And it's basically a way to group things. So I did this by function. So when we're having a team meeting, we can look at all of the design functions versus tasks versus all of the manufacturing tasks. Again, at a glance, I can see who it's assigned to. I can see the description. I can see notes. I can see the label, again, that we defined for the things that are important to us. I can see when it's due, and I get red alerts when it's overdue. I can make a new bucket. Let's say we need one for HR. And then these tasks can easily be moved around and redefined. And by just dragging it, it updates it so it's reflected in the grid view or any other view. What's really cool is not only can you see these boards by the buckets that you defined, but you can change them. So I might group it by who it's assigned to. So maybe I have my weekly call with Carol coming up. I want to look at it this way so I can review the tasks that she has on her plate and check in with how the progress is going. I can group, again, by progress, due date, labels, priority. So due date, I can see, oh, we're kind of wrapping up this week. What is the future starting to look like? What do I need to finish before this week is over? So lots of options to define how you see things. All of these tasks can also show up on a calendar view. And one more thing that I think is incredibly powerful is it has charts for you. So it can give you a status, how many tasks are not started, completed, late. We can look at the buckets. We can look at priorities. Again, we can look at members. We might have someone that's been out and their work is slipping, so we need to take action. So this is incredible. So one copy and paste of this into an email, your status report as a project manager is done. Or maybe you don't even have to send that anymore because every single member of the team can come in here real time and see the status of all of the different elements of the project. So hopefully that gives you a sense of a few different ideas and ways of thinking around teams and some of the features and tools within them. Oh, this seems like small potatoes, but I want to say one more thing about it. So say we're in the customer A team. So I'm in customer A and I see a post that concerns me and I realize, boy, I need to talk to the team right away. Well, instantly, right from where I'm working right now, I can do a meet now. It will instantly automatically invite every member of this team to a meeting right now. It'll pop up on the screen and ask them to join. Maybe I don't need it to be such an emergency, but I want to follow up and schedule a call with this team. it saves me from having to go and select all the members of the team. It already knows who the members are, and it will do that work for me, so I can schedule it. What's also nice is when you hold a call through a team, I can't remember where I have it here, but it will also, when the meeting recording is done, it will automatically attach it to the team. So if a team member was out, they know I just have to go to my team, and meeting recordings, files, notes, posts, everything are all going to be in this one spot. So hopefully that has shown you how Teams has just a wide variety of tools that are intended to help you work with your colleagues faster, better, more effectively, more productively from anywhere. Wherever you guys need to be, you can still collaborate, get to the pieces and parts of the work that you need with confidence, and do your best work together. So I hope that if you're using Teams, this will give you a few more ideas on how to use it even more fully. And if you aren't using Teams, I hope this has piqued your interest and you can see the ways that you could leverage it at your organization to add value.
Andrea, we did have a question come through.
Super.
It says, for translation, is it automatically, or do we need to see it somehow?
There's a little setup involved. So you have to basically go and set up related to, like, if I know my partner is going to be talking to me in English, but my preference is French, then I go and set my language to French, and then the chat is going to translate automatically for you real time.
Good to know. Thank you.
Absolutely.
If anyone has any further questions, please go ahead and get those in the chat or in the Q&A box, and we will get them answered, or in the chat, either one. Andrea, do you have any last minute words to say before we wrap up and while we wait for any other questions?
Yeah, I think my summary around Teams is it was a little bit clunky for me to start using personally in the beginning because my team and I were not up to speed on the tools. And it took us a while to sort of think about how we wanted to use our teams. I mean, using chat instantly adds value, but thinking how you want to organize your teams and get started took us a little while. Now that we have it organized and I am used to using chat and video calls and the calendar and recording, like everything I'm used to using on a regular basis, I couldn't possibly imagine how my productivity would slow down if someone took Teams away from me. So I hope that anyone who's sort of skeptical or hasn't really dipped their toe in the Teams space definitely can be encouraged that it's a real game changer.
Yes, it is. It's very useful, and there's just a lot of information is just there. You just have to go in and see how you're going to use it and utilize it more each day.
Yeah, I agree. And Angie and I communicate and collaborate on Teams pretty regularly. And I absolutely love this topic. And so please don't hesitate to email me or find me on LinkedIn or whatever, because I would love to chat more if you have any questions or you want to share tips and tricks that you have, because I'm always learning as well.
All right. Well, thank you very much, Andrea, for the presentation. Always helpful tips from you. And we're going to go ahead and wrap. If anybody has any further questions that you would like to address to Andrea, you can go ahead and message her at ahall@innovia.com, or you can message us on our info@innovia.com, and we can get those answers addressed with you. And if you haven't checked out our resources page on our website, you can access all of our resources quickly on that page for your Business Central content and our events. And that is innovia.com/resources. So all that information is there. And again, if you have any further questions, please message us at info@innovia.com. And be sure to take our survey at the end of the webinar, where your responses will help us with future material and improvement. Thank you again, Andrea, and thank you everyone for joining us. And we look forward to seeing you soon at another Innovia webinar. Take care, everyone.
Thank you.
Thank you, Andrea.